Now this is going to feel a little bit more scripted because it is. I've got a script, and I'll actually post this underneath the video link to this text. But I wanted to speak to this first threshold after careful preparation, tilling the soil of our stories, listening each other into being. There's a sense of we're leaving the ordinary world, the habitual world of our stories to go on an adventure. We've come to this point with intention and anticipation. Though naturally apprehensive, our bags are packed. We're ready as we might have ever been to go on this adventure. We've responded to the invitation. We're about to take first steps and the adventure begins. Here on the threshold of this strange, unfamiliar world, the transformation begins. Already, our minds and our hearts are beginning to open. We've noticed our habits of reacting and judging, of pushing and pulling, of grasping onto that which we think will keep us safe or happy, but leaves us in some sense and our world in a sad and sort of state of separation. We're becoming aware of our habitual pushing away anything that brings up discomfort or pain, only to find that suffering deepens. So at this point on the path, we're standing on the first of three, actually four thresholds. This is the threshold of acceptance or blessing or worthiness. Here, careful attention must be given to opening this first interior gateway so that we can cross over into this strange world. Before we take another step, we've got to know that we're accepted, we are loved, and we are worthy of the journey before we as sojourners, as pilgrims, can begin to negotiate the transformative and at times challenging and even dangerous topography that lies ahead. Thresholds are places on the path that cannot be avoided. There's no detour around, no way around, just forward or backward. This is the way of love. I recall telling the story of Winnie the Pooh to my children. I wonder, is some intuitive sense of the inherent challenge or danger at thresholds of life why Christopher Robin wouldn't step on a crack? The word threshold comes from the age-old practice of threshing or beating of the husk away to reveal the kernel of grain at the center of things. What is revealed at these liminal, Lyman, threshold places is what lies at the heart of the matter. Throughout human history, beings have considered threshold places to be places of danger where caution should be exercised. Fear of the unknown, uncertainty, and questionings regarding the way can feel threatening or a little bit scary to the would-be pilgrim. What surprises will I encounter? What am I going to be called to let go of? Am I really called to this journey? I remember over 30 years ago now, I was going through a very painful divorce. And I talked to one of my professors. I was in seminary at the time. And he was counseling me a little bit, and he invited me to read the sermon of Paul Tillich. It's in a little collection of his sermons called Shaking of the Foundations. And there's one sermon in the pages of that book titled, "You Are Accepted." It really changed my life, and I'd like to share a quote from that with you today. There are moments when grace comes over us and creates a capacity to accept ourselves, to truly love ourselves, and to accept God's acceptance of us. So Tillich says, sometimes at that moment, a wave of life breaks into our darkness, and it is as though a voice were saying, you are accepted. You are accepted by that which is greater than you, and the name of which you do not know. Do not ask for the name now. Perhaps you will find it later. Do not try to do anything now. Perhaps later you will do much. Do not seek for anything. Do not perform anything. Do not intend anything. Simply accept the fact that you are accepted. If that happens, we experience grace. After such an experience, we may not be better than before, and we may not believe more than before, but everything is transformed. In that moment, grace conquers sin, and reconciliation bridges the gulf of estrangement. And nothing is demanded of this experience, no religious or moral or intellectual proposition, nothing but acceptance. Wow. Now, I said I posted this below this video. I invite you to take time to read that and let that simmer as you savor those words of acceptance. In this pause, before we go on the journey, we need to know that we're loved, that we are the beloved, that our identity is rooted in the fact that we're created and breathed into and loved by God. It's that pure grace that awaits us here and calls us forward so that we can move beyond a false refuge of too small of a story. Now it is a time to look around us and regroup and ask, who will be my allies as I cross over into this new reality? Thank you.